What's going on, bosses? It's your girl Andrea, and you're watching Be the Brand TV. This is the place for think ups, startups, and scale ups who want authentic marketing to increase their engagement and conversions. Guys, the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and it feels like those 24 hours are just not 24 hours anymore, right? We're so busy. We're going here, we're going there, we're working with kids, we're working with clients, and we never really seem to have time for ourselves. Well, in today's episode, if that is you, keep watching because we're going to talk about how to get those things back into your daily routine so that you can be the you need to be to provide those products and services for your customer. That's right. We are using personal brand and putting feet to it to develop routines that get us back into our daily routine. Keep watching.
Welcome to Be the Brand TV.
All right, guys, step number one, we're going to go ahead and jump right in because there are several steps to this process. And the first thing is what's missing. You need to determine exactly what's missing from your life. What are you missing that you feel you really, really need to be the best version of yourself? And why have you neglected to do that for yourself in a daily routine? You've got to figure out what that is so that you can determine how you're going to get it back in your routine. For me, I was really missing a Bible study. I needed that quiet time. I needed time for reflection. I needed time to pour back into myself. I needed time to get crap out of me that was negative from that day or that month or whatever it is. So I needed to add that back into my daily routine. I just didn't know how to do it. Didn't know like exactly what I wanted to do or where I wanted to fit it in. The other thing I needed was just that quiet time on just one day a week where I didn't have to get up and just immediately get started and get going. I wanted some time to sort of just slowly get out of the bed and slowly just take my time, enjoy my coffee, enjoy my TV time. I wanted to have that time. Of course, I wanted to have time with my boo, when I try to get that in the evening. But the point was, and the point is that I was neglecting myself. I was not giving myself what I needed so that I had a full cup to share with other people. So the first step is just identify what's missing for you that you are not able to do at this time, and you are putting everything else in front of that thing. We have to love ourselves first. So determine what that is for you. The next step is what motivates you. What is it that gets you up, gets you going, gets you started in the day? What is the purpose behind your day? What is it that's going to make you smile and get you excited to do it all over again the next day? Determine what that thing is, because that is what you'll have to come back to on those days when you just don't feel it, right? When you're not happy about getting things going or starting or finishing or whatever the case may be. For me, I know that I am motivated when I feel like I am really providing a good service for somebody and I know I'm providing them with something that they need. So a lot of what I am doing is I am learning and I'm growing so that I have a bullpen of content or a bullpen of information, if you will, to just pour into someone whenever they ask. So I'm motivated when I know I am serving people things they actually need. So the next step, after you figure out what you're kind of missing, what you need to kind of get you going, get you pouring back into yourself, is to determine what motivates you, because maybe that's going to be what helps you get up and get started in the first place. The other thing that I didn't mention before that I realized that I needed, aside from that quiet time and that Bible study time, was just some physical activity time. I want to pour back into myself, loving myself enough to really devote some time to being healthy and contributing to my overall health. That's loving myself because I want to be around for a long time. So that was another thing that I had to determine was missing, like a consistency in that. So I kind of wanted to, that's one of the other things that kind of helped to shape like something that I was missing and I wanted to add back in. Now, the next thing, after you determine what motivates you, when are you most productive? That's the next thing. When are you most productive? Is it first thing in the morning? Is it like after lunch? Or is it in the evening after work? When do you find you are most productive? Is it late at night when everyone has gone to bed? determine what that time is for you. When are you least productive? That's the next thing. Because when you're least productive, you want to make sure that when you are creating the schedule for yourself and your routine, you're not putting those really important things that need to get done in the time when you are least productive. So you want to make sure you know what that is for you. And I suggest that you kind of take a look at a couple of your days, see when you're starting to feel drained, when you're starting to feel like just done for the day, and learn to identify what that feels like for you so that you have that cue, that trigger, and you know it's just time for you to stop. You know that you're not going to be able to produce on the level that you want to produce, and you can go ahead and stop yourself. That's just a hard stop. So that's a good tip to take away, is to just know when you're least productive too and what that feels like so that you can start to manage those expectations of yourself and other people around you. The next thing is, how do you work best? Do you work best in a quiet environment? Do you work best when you are around everybody and you're kind of feeding off of everyone's energy? When do you work best? So there's two separate things going on here. When are you most productive? That's the first thing. And then what are the circumstances around that productivity? Are you more productive in the morning when you are thinking about the start of your day, or when you have gotten all the kids off to school? Or are you most productive at the breakfast table when you have the whole family there to feed off of their energy? Decide not only when you are most productive, but also how you work best. I remember when I was in college, some people listened to music when they were studying. I couldn't listen to music because I would get into the sounds of the music and I would start singing and start dancing and just be distracted. So I learned I needed to have a quiet space to really focus on what I was trying to learn and ingest what it was that I was trying to pass the test on. So determine not only when you're most productive, but also how you work best. All right, so next, oh my gosh, here is time to create a plan of action so that your routine will begin to include that thing or those things that you need to be your best. Because when you are your best, when you're doing something and pouring into yourself, whatever it is you need, it allows you to then give back to other people by way of your products and your services. So you need to sort of fill up your own cup so that you can give out of overflow. So how do you do that? Well, I like to reverse engineer my day. I will share with you how I do it. You can take this and apply it to whatever time of day, whatever best way you work. You can go ahead and apply it to that. But for me, I am most productive when I have sort of poured into myself and I am no longer worried about how I'm going to get those things in that I need. So I want to take care of those things in the very first beginning of my day. So what does that reverse engineering look like? Here we go. Before you get started, you have to start with the end in mind. And what that means is, when do you need to have this routine of yours, this loving yourself, done? When does it need to be over so that you can get on with the rest of your day or on with the rest of your evening or go to bed, depending on the time of day that you're choosing to start this particular routine to love yourself? For me, I needed to be done by 7:30 in the morning because that is when I get my daughter Jessica up. So one of the things that I love about this is the house is quiet. I am the only one up for the most part, except for my guinea pig, and he's just loud and drives me crazy. But I get up, and I know that if I get up at a certain time, I know that I can get my self-love done. So the next thing is to know how long it's going to take for you to do this thing, that this loving yourself part. How long is that going to take? For me, I realized that to do the three things that I wanted to do, which is just some pouring out of just getting rid of things, like letting things out time. I needed some quiet time, some spiritual growth time, and I needed some exercise time. So I thought three things. I will give myself 30 minutes each. So that is an hour and a half of time for me to get done what I need to do to feel like I have loved myself first thing in the morning, and I've gotten those things out of the way. I'm not thinking about them all day long and wondering when I'm going to be able to get to them, if I'll ever get to them. I have set aside that hour and a half first thing in the morning so that I can get those things done. Now for you, maybe you don't work that great first thing in the morning. You like to get your sleep. So what part of the day, remember we talked about when are you most productive, what part of the day, and then determine from there how much time you need in that part of the day to get done what you need to get done to love yourself, to have that time for yourself. So this video right here is sort of a great idea on how to start your time with purpose. For me, it was the first thing in the morning. I needed something that was going to help me get started. I needed a purpose for the day. And in this video, I'm sharing with you, this thing is definitely not what motivates me to get started first thing in the morning. It does not give me the purpose. But I had to find that purpose to actually get me started with whatever, with my little loving myself part of my day. The next thing is to determine what you need to do to ensure you will get started on time with your self-love. Now for me, because I'm getting up at the first thing in the morning to have my first hour and a half, I know that I've got to prepare myself to go to bed at a certain time. So if I know I want to get up at 6:30, if I know I want to get up at 6 and I know I need 7 hours of sleep, that means I need to go to bed by 11. But in order for me to go to bed by 11, there's a whole bedtime routine that needs to happen. So I need to wind the clock back a little bit further so I know what time to get started getting myself ready for bed so that I can actually have my head on my pillow at 11 o'clock. So you see what we're doing? We're reverse engineering our time so that we make sure we have that self-love time in our day. Again, for me, it's first thing in the morning. For you, figure that out. Determine the best time for you to be productive. Determine the best time for you to work and get that thing done for yourself so that you can really enjoy it. All right. So after I reversed engineered it and determined what I needed to do to ensure I could get started on time, self-love, and doing that self-love stuff, the next step is to get back to that purpose that I was talking about earlier. My husband said to me one time, when he gets up, he just pops up real easily, and I was struggling to do that. And I used to say, how in the world do you do that? How do you just pop up and get started? Well, he had an 8 o'clock call every morning. So he had to get up with purpose because he knew he had to be ready for that call. So he wanted to have his coffee. He wanted to make sure his computer was on. So he had to get up at a certain time to make sure he was ready to get started. So he got up with purpose. And he said to me, honey, if you have a reason to get up, if you have a purpose behind getting up early, it makes it easier for you to get up. So I had to find my purpose, which was that first hour and a half. I wanted quiet time. I wanted, time to dump with morning pages, and I wanted exercise time. So that was my purpose. Notice, if you will, exercise time was the very last thing. So this is the last 30 minutes because I cannot get up with the intent to work out. That's not my purpose because that's not fun for me. So the next thing is, once you determine what time you need to get up, and how you're going to get up by that time, by understanding what you need to do to prepare for that, the next thing is to actually determine the purpose behind this activity, this self-love thing that you're doing, or whatever it is you're prepping for throughout your day. For me, the purpose was I needed to love myself. I needed time to myself to make sure I was getting in those things that were being dropped by the wayside because there just weren't enough hours in a day. So I found my hours. The first hour and a half, I wake up. And the purpose behind that was, like I said, quiet time, prayer time, and workout time. So you have to find that for yourself. So now that you have reverse engineered all of this so that you can make sure you get your time in, you have enough time in your 24 hours to love yourself, the next thing is to implement your plan. Now, this video right here, I am sharing with you how you can do that if you have kids, because I know that can be difficult sometimes. So this video is going to share with you how to build your business when you have kids at home. And hopefully that will help you to sort of think about the time frame that you are going to love yourself, because a lot of you have to get up, get your kids ready, get them off to school. So this might be the perfect video to share with you on how you can find that time, definitely when you're most productive, and how you can reverse engineer your me time. All right, guys, that does it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, because, hey, authentic marketing is something that we have to do in the use of our personal brand. So here we are putting feet to it so that we have all these different areas where we are definitely having authentic moments with our audience and they can resonate with our content. So if you love this video, again, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Here you can make sure you screenshot, Share this with your friends over on IG and tag me right here, AF Patrick, on Instagram. And guess what? You could be featured on my video here, the next video. So make sure that you leave a comment below and tell me, how are you finding time for yourself? How are you creating routines in your daily schedule that allow you to love yourself? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me this week on Be the Brand TV. Remember, this is a place for think ups, startups, and scale ups. I'll see you next week.